Winslow seemingly vanished into thin air. When I reported his treachery to the State Department, they told me they had nothing on him. I decided my best bet for finding Winslow would be to find the Black Dahlia. An enterprising corporal at the Quartermaster Corps had stolen it and put it up for sale in the black market. A little convincing helped him to remember selling it to a young pilot named Matt Collins. I arrived at the base where the pilot was stationed, hoping to catch up to the Black Dahlia once more. Smoke?
Thanks, Mac. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a pilot named Collins.
You're too late.
What do you mean? He ship home?
No, Mac. He went down a few days ago. Damnedest thing. Best pilot in the squadron. 22 kills during the war, and he doesn't get so much as a scratch. Now his plane goes down during routine maneuvers. Mechanical failure, they think. His chute didn't work neither. Damn queer, if you ask me.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Black Dahlia. We have a lot to discuss with the last video, but we're gonna leave it until after this section is done. It's actually really short, this little bit in the military base. It's just to get our bearings of where we're gonna go next after everything that we have seen. We're looking into where the Dahlia went to after the quartermaster was dealt with it. Which leads us to this guy, Jennings.
What was this Collins like?
Best guy in the squadron. What'd you want to see him for?
I'm looking for this black gem. Corporal in the quartermaster's office told me he sold it to Collins.
Yeah, I remember it. Weirdest piece of rock I ever did see.
You know what he did with it?
He sent it home to his girlfriend. He was nuts about that girl. Always sending her stuff. He knew she'd love that rock on account of how she had this thing for black.
Is Bunker around here?
Yeah. You're standing next to it.
Mind if I have a look in his locker?
Be my guest. Ain't much in there.
Well, anything is better than nothing. All we really know is that, well, Collins doesn't have it anymore. Apparently his girlfriend does? Or is on the way to actually getting it? So we need to find something that is inside of this trunk that's going to help us here. Really enough, there's a lot of things that we can actually examine. Examine on the surface, anyways. Geez, that'd be handy to take. But no, it's not really all that helpful. Alrighty. Now, okay, our inventory is actually the same as it was beforehand. Weird, because all the things that are actually in our inventory are pretty much useless at this point. The runes are done after that big, huge puzzle that we did in Estefan's chamber. Even though he had a girlfriend, he does need to, I guess, keep himself busy. Got a shoebox that we can't open. It's handy. The Man's Book. I want to say that this poster is, a reference for Do Something. I want to say that that picture is off of a movie poster of some sort. But this is really where the interesting information comes. It's these letters. Gives us a place to go.
What's this? This letter from his girl?
From Lizzie? Yeah, that's her. They was always writing to each other.
She's a looker. She live in L.A.?
Yeah, Mac. You ain't kidding about her being a looker. Real hot stuff, that one. You thinking of looking her up once you ship back to the States?
Yeah, just might do that. You, mind if I keep the photo?
Sure, whatever you want. Doesn't take long for the vultures now that Maddie's out of the way.
How's that?
Lizzie's a popular girl all of a sudden. You ain't the first guy to come around. There was another fellow in here yesterday. He was a blonde guy. Real arrogant snob. Called me Sport. He wanted a picture too. Said he was shipping home, was gonna look her up first thing once he got back to the States. Back to the States. Back to the States. Back to the States.
I left Europe and caught the first train out of New York. I was headed to Los Angeles and a girl named Elizabeth Short, hoping Winslow hadn't got to her first. I knew if he found her and the Black Dahlia, it wouldn't be pretty. It would take me several days to reach L.A., and Winslow already had a head start. There was nothing I could do but sit and wait and fear for the life of a girl I'd never met, who couldn't even begin to suspect a killer was headed her way.
And so we find ourselves off to LA, straight out of Europe. This train sequence is where we're going to be spending the next little bit of time. Unfortunately, like Pearson mentioned, we have to sit and wait on a train. Well, we might as well take advantage of the stuff that we have here. Even if it's not all that appetizing. Especially when we realize that, yeah, Winslow is a big bad guy. Don't really know how much of a bad guy, though. It's one of the questions that it really sticks in my mind every time I go back through the story. Makes me want to drink more coffee, but there's also something else that we're able to look at. We can get off of the table, but there's something that we need to do beforehand, and that's actually examine this over here, the ashtray.
I'd recognize those black cigarettes anywhere. Winslow's been here.
Yes, sir.
Who sat at this table before me?
I don't know, sir. I just came on this shift.
Is there any way that you could find out if it was a man named Winslow?
I'm pretty busy, sir. They got me covering 2 stations.
Come on. Be a pal. Winslow's an old army buddy of mine.
Army, huh? I was with the Marines myself. All right. I'll go check the charts. Sorry, sir. Your buddy's not aboard.
Are you sure?
I checked the charts. Nobody named Winslow came through my car.
Well, who had this table before me?
I don't remember, but it wasn't your buddy.
Can't you check your charts again?
Why don't you go bother the conductor? He should know who all's on board.
Thanks.
I've got to check on that other car now, sir.
Thanks for your help.
Well, if he's not going to look at the charts hard enough, we can also look at his nice woman who seems to be just waiting for her food. We can go and check the charts ourselves. Now that he is gone, we weren't able to do that because he was actually standing over here. There's also a guy next to her as well. Now that car that he went over to, we also can't go over to. So he's just kind of away from everything. But here's the chart that he was actually looking at, which we also need to look at as well. This piece of paper is actually really interesting, and we'll go over the reasons why. First, we need to actually see who is here beforehand, but there's a couple other names that are really interesting on this list, including Barry White. I want to say that Bubba Taylor is somebody, but I haven't been able to see who it is. Betty Jones, who is a known singer back in the day, as well as there's another name that caught my eye, which was Don Dillinger. No person directly named Don Dillinger came up, but there was a John Dillinger, who was a gangster in the just before the Great Depression. It was around like 32, 33. I want to say that it wants to pay reference to him. Anyway, here's our name as part of the third shift in the dining car. But the person before us at the same table, Matt Collins. Matt Collins is dead, so somebody is using his name as an alias. I wonder who. And it just so happens for us that it means that Winslow is on the same train we are. That is scary, and also convenient at the same time. He doesn't have as much as a head start as we thought. Alright. If Winslow's on this train, let's take advantage of that situation and actually take a look and see if we can't find him.
Sorry, I must have the wrong compartment.
Oh. Got a singer in that one. Okay, let's try the next one.
Hey, what the hell?
Well, it doesn't hurt to keep trying. Let's see, we did 8, we did 7, let's do 6.
I never.
Hello, ma'am. Okay. How about 5?
What's your problem, mister? You some kind of peeping Tom?
I'm sorry, I had the wrong room.
You've been getting complaints left and right about you from the other passengers. Well, I ain't gonna stand for any of this. I don't need any monkey shines from the likes of you. I want you off my train.
What do you mean?
You're getting off at the station.
You don't understand. You can't do that.
Oh, yeah? Just watch me. Johnny, we've got a problem here. This man has been bothering the other passengers. See to it that he gets off at the next stop.
I'd be glad to, Mr. Robinson. But if give me a minute to explain.
Porter, what caused the delay?
Oh, some nut was causing problems. Don't worry, he's no longer on our train.
There's one in every crowd. Will we be late in reaching Los Angeles?
We'll do our best to make up the time.
Good. I have some rather important business to attend to there.
Okay. Well, we can technically die on the train. So, we can't just go willy-nilly and look through passenger cars and hopefully find where Winslow's actually staying. So, that means that we actually have to take the porter's advice and go through the entire train to the caboose in order to talk to him. So, I'm going to take this opportunity to actually talk about the whole bunch of information that just kind of fell into place. Specifically talking about the roadmap to the Black Dahlia. There's little bits and pieces that are kind of missing, but I've tried to string together. So let's start from the beginning. Eisenstadt, who has had the Black Dahlia since the beginning of the game. He probably used it in order to escape Austria in some way, shape, or form, because he had access to the Dream Realm that was kind of screwing with us. On top of that, Von Hess, back at the Raven Room party, attempted to steal the Black Dahlia. At that point, we didn't know why, until we realized that Winslow is actually evil. So, we show him the back door to the Raven Room, which ultimately lets Winslow kill Eisenstadt. This is where it gets a little bit weird. Does Winslow either take the Dahlia and give it to Von Hess before he gets deported because he works for the FBI and is working that area? Or does he hold on to the Dahlia himself and personally sends it to Hitler when he's over in Europe working for the British Secret Service? Who knows? Either way, it gets to Hitler, who then sends that artifact and all 3 of the artifacts, including the Cup of Ashwood and the, the skull, underground, and Von Hess tries to get the artifacts out. Only gets 2 out after that. Which then ultimately leads to Pearson finding the Dahlia, and the Dahlia getting taken away by the Quartermaster Corps, and then ultimately leading to the events that lead to here. Which leads to the ultimate question, though. Is Winslow the original torso killer, or was Eisenstadt doing the torso killing back in Cleveland? I'll save that question because I do want to talk about it a little bit later. But for now, let's take a look at what we're actually picking up right now. We just went through 6 passenger carts, and we don't want to do that all the time. So this blueprint here actually serves as a very small little world map for us to explore while we're on the train. Super, super handy. However, looking around here, we have a whole bunch of information to kind of take in inside of the baggage cart, including anything that we can really click on. That includes this suitcase here, which really doesn't have a whole lot of purpose at this point, but it's always good to know what you are able to click on, including all the shipping tags that some of the packages have that we're able to see, which lead to areas like Los Angeles, Salt Lake City, Tacoma, any of those. This suitcase, on the other hand, again, we're not able to do much with it. And after time, it falls down. Good to know that it actually does that, though. Anyway, little important bits of information right there. Let's head through and continue our way to the caboose. It isn't that far off, either. Just got the office door waiting for us.
Come in. This area is restricted, sir. Passengers really shouldn't be back here.
Oh, I'm sorry to bother you. I just had a few questions.
All right, but make them quick. I am busy.
Well, let's ask the obvious question first.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Just asking a simple question.
Okay, now that we're done being a little turd by holding the shift key and talking to him, now let's talk about the room assignments. We're only able to talk to him about this if we read the roster.
I've got an old buddy of mine on board. I was hoping you might be able to tell me his room assignment.
You don't say. Small world, ain't it?
Sure is. Can you tell me his compartment number?
Well, sure. What's his name?
Now, there's a bunch of names that we're able to put down here. Obviously, we're looking for Winslow, so I guess we could just write in his name and see if it comes up. How should we write it? Dick... Yeah, Dick Winslow. How he always wants to be called.
Sorry, I can't find that name on my passenger list. You sure your friend's on board?
I sure thought so.
Now, the proper name isn't the only thing you're able to write down. Any of the names that you saw, including others, you're able to put down. So, for instance, if I put down Barry White...
Sure, there it is. Your friend stayed in first class.
Okay, thanks.
You'll get a message like that. There are other names that you're able to get a little bit later on into the train, and you're also able to put them in as well. For instance, a name like Jack Snyder.
Well, sure, there it is. Your friend's staying in coach.
Okay, thanks.
That's pretty much all the extra dialogue we get for the other names, so of course, we're looking for Matt Collins.
I'm sorry, but Mr. Collins left specific instructions not to be disturbed by anyone. I'm afraid I can't give you his room assignment.
Come on, be a pal. I haven't seen him since we marched into Berlin together.
I'm sorry, friend, but I can't do it. It's railroad policy. If you'd like, I could see he gets a message.
No, that's all right. I wanted to be sure I surprised him.
Are you sure you don't want me to pass along the message?
Yeah, thanks.
Alright, so we're kind of stuck a little bit. If we don't know where Winslow is, we can't confront him or think of a plan in order to actually continue going. What is Pearson's plan for learning his compartment number, though? Honestly. So, we have to figure out a way of getting into the caboose, into the office, without the conductor actually being there. How should we do that? Well, there's actually another thing in the baggage cart that we're able to look at. Specifically, a few new things. After we actually talked to him about getting the compartment number, this wasn't actually in the baggage car beforehand. It's a little bit strange. I find that the baggage car is a little bit annoying to deal with because there's little tiny things that pop up as you go through the train section of the game, including finding the string and other things as well that we'll be seeing a little bit later. And this photo of Elizabeth Short as well as Khan's letter. These letters you're also able to read at this point, although the information that's on it, even though it is important, is not going to be important for a little while later, so I will leave that until it is a little bit more pertinent. So anyway, back to the problem at hand. How are we supposed to be able to see the room assignments list? Well, over on the right-hand side here, there's something that might look familiar to some of you. This kind of line that goes along the side of a car.
Better not. I'd get in big trouble if they caught me pulling this without good reason.
It's an emergency brake, if you're not sure. Public transit, it would just be a stop line that you're able to pull. Let's pull it!
Are you nuts? You better have a damn good reason for this.
It was an accident.
Do you take me for some kind of jackass? I don't have any patience for such rampant disregard for the welfare of this train and its passengers.
It won't happen again, I swear.
You better believe it won't happen again.
What do you mean?
I'm kicking you off my train.
But
No buts about it. I won't stand for this reckless behavior.
But you can't do that.
Just watch me.
But, sir, please, if you will just give me a minute to explain, please, I can explain it.
Reporter, what caused the delay?
Oh, some nut was causing problems. Don't worry, he's no longer on our train.
There's one in every crowd. Will we be late in reaching Los Angeles?
We'll do our best to make up the time.
Good. I have some rather important business to attend to there.
And so we die in a very similar manner, just getting kicked off the train. So yeah, okay, back to business. Let's pick up the string again and actually use it for what it needs to be used for, in a very odd way. So, obviously, from what we just saw there, the emergency brake is enough in order to get the conductor out of his office. But we have to make it so that we are not the ones who are pulling that line. So let's take some information that we've already picked up at this point of what actually happens on the train. So this suitcase, we know, after a certain amount of time, based on just the train moving, will fall down. What if we decided to actually tie the string from the suitcase to the line? Seems simple enough. However, the game is a little bit picky about where you actually go about putting the string and where you're actually facing. I'm not sure why, to be completely honest, but it's really just about where you're facing and having both the line and the suitcase in the same area. But not completely. For instance, it doesn't work here either. Okay. Yeah, it might take you a little bit in order to get the right position you're supposed to face in order to make it actually go in the right place. I don't know, it's a little bit my fault, and a little bit that the window for actually having the string being used is weirdly tight. So now we have two options. One is to go in the direction of the passenger cars and see what happens.
When I find the idiot that pulled that cord...
Conductor, excuse me, I'm sorry. Could you tell me
Not now, mister. I've got to check on the emergency.
Yeah, but...
Or, upon tying it, you can actually go in the direction of the caboose.
Come in. Now listen, mister. You're trying my patience. Now, if you've got questions for me, wait until I make my round.
I understand. I just have one more question.
No, no more questions. I've got work to... Damn it, now what?
But what about my question?
Your dang blasted question can wait. I've got to find out why we stopped.
Both of these directions will get you to be able to get you into the office without the conductor. So let's take a quick look around to see what we can actually get out of here. I'm not entirely sure which bell that is. We got the March calendar. All nice and good. Got a lot of pinup girl pictures that are just around the game. More than I thought there was going to be. We got some trash. We got, ooh, a nice picture up here. Okay. At least make it look homey instead of the train decor. And we have the desk itself. Okay. What else do we have here? More pinups? Yeah, spicy. Spicy magazine. 15 cents. Also some whiskey. Maybe that's why he's a little bit, short in terms of his patience. But we have two things that we're able to look at on the desk. One is this repair requisition form, which is going to help us in determining where Winslow actually is on this train. Each car has a different number. In terms of the order of when they appear on the train, we're not entirely sure. But each train has something wrong with it, or something that was recently repaired on it. This information is going to be important when we're dealing with the piece of paper here, which honestly has a lot at first glance, but we're only looking for very specific information. One is obviously the name that Winslow is using on the train, which in this case would be Matt Collins, and where is it? I guess looking at the instructions would actually help, the do not disturb, so we actually know where he is. There he is. Matt Collins. So he is in car 283, and he has a specific porter also assigned to him as well. Nick Adams. So, another thing that they did on this train, and it's at the top of the page, is certain porters are assigned to different cars and to different rooms. So, if we look up at Nick Adams here, we notice that he is actually assigned to only rooms 2 and 7 on car 283. That diminishes our search a great deal, because now we only have 2 rooms to search on the specific train. 283, though. The question is, which car is 283? That's where the repair requisition is actually going to come into play, because we need to do a little bit of close examination of each of the carts in order to see which has been repaired and what hasn't there. And based on that, we're able to find out whether he's in room 2 or 7 of that particular car. There's Barry White. Hey, He's in 328. And there's a bunch of other names that you want to try if you really want to. They all lead to either being coach or first class. So for instance, car 283. Okay, so they had to replace the light fixture, clean the carpet stains, and shellac the chipped railing. But they have replaced the broken number plate. Okay. And based on that, we just need to go on the hunt through all the train cars in order to find out where Winslow's hiding. And that is what we'll do next time. See you next time, everyone.